Welcome back to Dirty Boots Capital. Today we have a very special guest. Drew is with us. He has his own trucking business. Actually, he has two trucking businesses. So he's a rock star in the trucking industry. So I want to get him on today to help us understand a little bit about what's happening within the supply chain and how it's impacting him as well as impacting us. So Drew, welcome to Dirty Boots Capital.
Hey, Tony. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's exciting. Like we talked previously, it's one of the first times for me. So, I'm glad to chat and kind of give you my ideas of what I think is going on in this industry right now and, dive into it.
Absolutely. No, well, thank you. I know your time's important, so I appreciate you stealing some time to spend with us here. So first, I want to start with a couple of articles I saw on FreightWaves. This first article from FreightWaves is titled, U.S. to Close Borders to Unvaccinated Canadian and Mexican Truckers on Saturday. And so this happened this past Saturday, just so the viewers know the time frame. So that was January 22nd is when the borders closed to unvaccinated. And in this article, they have a quote here from Secretary Mayorkas, and he states, "These updated travel requirements reflect the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to protecting public health while safely facilitating the cross-border trade and travel that is critical to our economy." So I guess to him, I would, suggest, why jump directly to forcing vaccine mandates as opposed to using the tests for going right to the mandate. And then whatever happened to herd immunity, right? I don't hear a lot of talk about that these days. I just want to point out, starting here, the impact will be felt most acutely for the U.S. Canadian freight market, where around 160,000 truckers regularly cross the border. 75% of those of whom are Canadian, right? So that's a huge impact. And they go on to state, already capacity has tightened significantly with huge price increases in the spot market because now you have less supply to meet that same amount of demand. And then I just want to bring up the second article. This is a gentleman out of Alberta. So he has his own trucking company, Evans Trucking. So Alberta Carrier says mandate costing it 1/3 of cross-border capacity, right? So he has his business, Evans Trucking. He's out of Alberta. Now he's a small business owner, but it's the mandate is costing him 1/3 of his drivers, of his 36 drivers. So he went on to state, basically he's not happy with this. And he says, but, I will close the doors of the company because I will not force anyone to get a vaccine, right? So here's a small business owner who's basically saying, I'm not going to force anybody. If I don't have the staff, I'm just going to close the doors, which at the end of the day, Secretary Mayorkas, this isn't helping the American people. So I just wanted to put those articles front and center and get your perspective, your experience over the last 2 years. How is this mandate impacting you? Or maybe it isn't, Drew. I don't.
Well, we don't really do a lot of cross-border with Canada, especially. We do some with Mexico when the produce season kind of starts, but 160,000 that the article said drivers, that's a huge amount of drivers. It might not look like much, but this is a large amount of drivers, and we already see that everything here within the United States, like it was mentioned, the spot market, it's at the extreme highs right now, and just by implementing those mandates,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much help is that going to be. For one, like the guy mentioned in the article, the business owner, it's not just him. Can you imagine in a trucking industry in general, if I'm not mistaken, 82% of trucking companies are 10 trucks or fewer.
Yeah.
So everything consists of like small business trucking companies, and truck drivers in general, are really hesitant on getting those, vaccines. Not sure why, how, where, but it's just basically the trend. So
Yeah.
by implementing those mandates, it's going to be extremely difficult. You would actually kind of want to release the pressure, not
Yes.
tighten it. And with everything that's going on down there, and the C.H. Robinson CEO, just before Christmas, he spoke. He said we need over the next 2 weeks we need like 80,000 drivers.
Yes.
which is huge amount. I mean, this is impossible to do that. And right now, while you're closing borders, I think we've seen enough empty shelves in the stores, and I think it's just going to accelerate even more. Where it stops, I have no idea, but it's not going to be helping. It's not going to be helping.
Yeah, I just went to a local office supply store to pick up some paper for my printer, and the aisle was like, 40 to 50% empty. It's impacting all of us in different ways. Now for you, how is the labor market impacting you and being able to find drivers? Have you lost any drivers? Are you trying to hire drivers? How's that impacting you?
We haven't really lost any drivers, but it's becoming extremely difficult and expensive, basically, to find some new ones, because what's been happening, drivers in the trucking industry are over 45 years old.
Mhm.
So this is the majority. So most of them are 50 something, 60, and probably a lot of them got in a position where they probably had enough, where they wanted to retire. They didn't want to, deal with all of this, and especially, this is one side of the story. Now, the things that they have to deal when they go to the shippers or receivers, this is another thing. So you have these trucks just sitting around, and in order to get into certain warehouses, and you can't just leave, because you'll lose your turn. Basically, you wait another, I don't know, 24 hours.
Yep.
So and people don't want to deal with that, right? He already, imagine the driver spends, I don't know, a week, two on a road without seeing his family, without seeing his kids growing up,
Yeah.
and then he has to put up with all these mandates. On top of that, he has to go to the shipper or receiver that basically neglects him, or it's pretty harsh, dealing with them, and why would you want to
Yeah.
do that? And
Yeah.
then on the other hand, when you trying to, I don't know if you've seen, but there was an article, or they trying to make it possible for 18-year-olds to drive semi trucks.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah.
Good God, I'm not, I just take myself as an example. I know at 18 years old, nobody should give me a truck. No, not to say, that we can't have that, or some people, won't be able to do that. But there's so many things that go into driving a truck, especially like in the winter conditions, and
Yep.
just things that you have to check on, and I'm not sure if that's the best idea that they're trying to do, but I understand, in order to get some people into the labor market, especially for trucking. On the other hand, they are putting people like literally out of high school, into these trucks. I don't know. They have to have really, really extensive training
Yeah.
to drive a truck.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about to drive 2 or 3 months. I mean, you have to experience the seasons by being, a few months on the road. So
and for folks like yourself that has a trucking company, in the article I was reading about the potentially bringing on 18-year-old truck drivers, was there would need to be additional safety equipment installed on the trucks, right? So that's additional cost for you, right? And many small to medium sized businesses, like that gentleman out of Alberta, right? He and all you guys, now we're gonna install cameras on the front windshield. You got to install a backup camera on the back. you have to install special safety equipment for these 18-year-old drivers. So I'm not saying it's not doable. It is. It's not helping you, is what I'm getting at. So
No, no, and you know, all the technology that they're trying to install, it's you know, I'm up for it. We do have front facing cameras, and we do have cameras, you know, facing inward. And actually, to your point, I just had a meeting last week about some backup cameras because a lot of you know, damages happen that way. But this is just from technological standpoint, right? When who's going to train the driver, right?
yeah,
There has to be, you basically have to run teams on all the trucks. So there's actually has to be a person, a trainer, and then a trainee, and then you have to be in the truck for, I don't know, 18-year-old, right? Like I said, probably for a year or so, you know, to do that. And it's just problematic. And then when you put two random people into the truck, it doesn't always work out. Well, actually, most of the time it doesn't.
yeah.
So there's a lot of headaches, you know, that's going to be associated with it. I'm not sure if they're going to go through with it or not, but there's a lot of things that have to be sorted out before they even do that. You know, they just quick to kind of, I'm not sure. DOT is really quick to kind of implement things, and then they try to figure out if it was you know, if it was good or not.
Yeah, if anything, they're pushing not only truck drivers out of the business, to your point, you know, pairing people up together in a cab that, you know, maybe personalities don't mix or whatever the situation is. You know, these are folks who maybe in their 50s or 60s who are, you know, the experienced drivers who are saying, wait a minute, I never signed up for this stuff, right? And they're just like, I'm done, and they retire or they go off to work another job, or you know, they just exit the business, right? So that's not helping us any. It's not helping the small to medium sized businesses like yourself and others who are trying to, you know, provide a service, right, that this country greatly needs. And there's some of those that are going to be like, you know, I'll go start a different company, you know. So it's interesting to see, and your points are very well taken, very well taken. So let's jump to inflation and supply chain issues that you might be seeing out there. Help us understand how inflation is impacting you, as well as any supply chain issues might be affecting you.
Yes, so inflation is a huge topic in trucking, just like everywhere else, I would assume. You know, since trucking is extremely capital intensive, it you know, it hits us pretty hard when it comes to, you know, parts, labor, you know, I'm not sure about the percentages of increases, but I know for tires, we got like three times. You know, they raised the prices for tires already like three times.
Wow.
And you know, truck leases or truck rentals, they went up like three or four times already.
Wow.
So, you know, it's kind of, it's interesting, you know, when people, I talk to people sometimes, you know, our neighbors are in manufacturing, and you know, I have a conversation with their owner from time to time, and you know, like, how are you doing, how is this impacting you, you know, and he's like, well, you guys are doing really well, you know, I heard the prices are, you know, really good, and you know, you get paid a lot, and I was like, yeah, it seems like it's the narrative around, but you know, we used to pay, you know, drivers 60, 65 cents per mile. Right now in Chicago, we have companies paying 90, 95 cents per mile.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, they have to ask for more from the brokerages or customers if we can, just because our expenses went up extremely, you know, over the last, especially probably 2 or 3 months, and it it's pretty difficult to get the parts if you know, the truck breaks down. We having a lot of issues with you know, just ordering something, even, you know, to get shipped to us, and thing like QLS sensors, it's impossible to get it. It used to be easy. It's one of the easiest parts that you used to change. You know, it takes an hour, maybe hour and a half, and you know, you're back on the road and no problem.
So you can't get it at all. Can you operate your truck without it?
Well, you can, but then if you get stopped and you're, you know, you above the threshold of the emissions, you know,
You'll get fined.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. We know California is really big on those things, but
Sure.
I guess the government seen that it's becoming a huge issue. So for certain trucks, they allow to disconnect DEF filter at all, just so you could operate. But then again, what trucks you have to send in VIN numbers. You have to see if you can do
Mm,
that or not. It usually takes time, and time is money,
sure.
especially in trucking. And every bill of lading, every it means money. And when your truck is sitting, or you can't haul your load, and
Yeah.
then if you have sitting in the truck for 2 days, the driver says, well, I can't take it anymore, because he doesn't get paid at that point, so he wants to leave.
Yeah.
It's just a painful thing. Some good trucking companies also, they go out of business, and there's nothing much you can do, about it. But then less trucks, then we kind of get our prices up again. But in general, this is just from as a trucking company, but it doesn't help the big picture, right? Getting
Yep.
goods from point A to point B. It's again, like we discussed previously, like, and I've noticed it, like the stores these days, they live from a truckload to a truckload. That's
Mm,
pretty much it. So if that truck stopped
yep.
or it broke down, it doesn't get its goods. That's
Yeah.
it. The shelves are empty at the same time. At the same time, they're not generating any sales, no
Yeah.
revenue.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's searching for that.
the large businesses like the Walmarts and the Costcos and right, those large businesses, they can continue to survive, right? But it's those small to medium sized businesses, right? The restaurants that didn't get their delivery of, of produce today
Yeah.
because of trucking issues, right? It's the HVAC contractor that didn't get his supply of metal for that week, and so now what does he do for his jobs, right? It's all making things harder. And it's not just, one specific industry. It's primarily the small to medium-sized businesses that are really getting hit hard by this supply chain issue and so many different issues, right? We have labor issues, we have inflation issues, right? So that's the reason why I love to get guys like yourself who are boots on the ground. You know exactly what's going on, how it's in fact impacting you. You can relay that in simple terms to guys like me and the audience to be able to say, hey, this is the real world impact to all of us, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because you had mentioned something that struck a chord with me when you said, some people look at you and they say, hey, you're doing really well, Drew, right? You're doing well, hey, your prices have gone up and you're in business still, you haven't been put out of business by the pandemic. Oh, great, you're doing well. What they're not saying in your business and in my business, they're not seeing the expenses that have gone up tremendously. And yeah, it's hard for some folks to relate to that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so in terms of the greater business, the trucking business, what are some, I always like to end on a positive note with these types of videos, right? So hopefully there's some positive things you see, happening in the industry that you can share with us.
The trucking industry.
Yeah, yeah. I hope so. I don't know. Maybe there's the new technology that's coming down the road as a result of, maybe driverless trucks. That's going to solve our problem of being short 80,000 truck drivers, right? Maybe driverless trucks are going to help us. I don't know. What do you see as the future of trucking that's going to help?
Well, to your point, this is probably the route that's going to be taken, because I'm not sure how to. I always try to put myself in, let's say, into the driver's shoes, right? So, do I want to spend on there? Let's say I have two kids right now. Do I want to sit in the truck and drive there for 2 weeks? And the only way you basically seeing your kids grow up through a phone, right?
Yep.
FaceTime or something like that, which is, I'm not sure. I think it's extremely difficult, to do that, and staying away from your family, and just the lifestyle in the trucking. trucking is not a bad profession, right? You can make a lot of money. You can, see United States, you can
Yeah.
see Canada or Mexico if you go down there. There's a lot of beautiful places, right? But instead of like these mandates that we're trying to implement, I think we should be working a little bit more on improving the life on the road.
Mm.
Better food, better truck stops, better service, shippers, receivers, detention, waiting times. These are the things. I've been to a few warehouses myself, and sometimes you have an appointment and the guy's just kind of walking around, it's like, you're not going to leave anywhere, right? You need the freight, so we'll do what we have to do, and then we'll get you loaded. And these things are frustrating, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm using my hours, which is
Yeah.
basically directly my pay, because I get paid per mile.
Time is money.
Exactly, and you're wasting my time, and I can't make end meet, at the end of the week, and
Yeah.
it's frustrating. So I think that's why technology is going towards like driverless trucks. I'm not sure, how fast we're gonna get there, but I have a Tesla, right? So it has autopilot, and let me
How's that
tell you,
working for you?
we way too far from me just getting into the car and telling take me there, right? So, and this is a car that we were talking about. When we talk about trucks, there's
Yeah.
way more things that go into consideration. So we already have a lot of technology installed in them, the pre-collision system and blind spot monitoring, and even some of the newer trucks, they have that kind of autopilot where, it kind of keeps you within the lanes and keeps the distance. Obviously, we all know we're very limited, especially in bad weather, to do that. So I'm not sure how I think as this technology keeps improving, I think we should still be improving those other things, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
For drivers to kind of make it easier to stay, on the road,
Yeah.
to get a little bit more people into this industry. It goes hand in hand. If you improve those things, there's still going to have to be a driver in the truck. I don't believe we anywhere close with this just trucks driving and on a road without anyone in it.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But,
I agree with you. Absolutely. We're still, I can't imagine that we're now years away from something like driverless semi trucks. So yeah. So all good information. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. If folks want to take a look more at your industry, what you guys are doing, or reach out to you guys, what's the best way for the viewers to do that?
Well, our website is www.translinesinc.com. If you need some freight haul, if you're interested in joining, Transline's team, please reach out through there. There's a few links where you can click and fill out applications. But for the general public, kind of, if you are interested about the trucking industry and kind of the life on a road, we have our YouTube channel. It's called OTR Survival, which is Over the Road Survival. We have one of our drivers. His name is John, and he makes these weekly videos about, how drivers, the problems that the drivers face on the road, how to deal with them, all these issues that we have, while driving, and just some interviews that he's done, and that we're going to be doing, in the near future. Like we, prior to interview, we discussed, about that autopilot, in trucks and that technology. We have an interview scheduled with the company. So just kind of day-to-day things that he sees and makes videos of. So, which I think is very interesting, because our industry has a perception of big trucks, big rigs, only accidents, drivers don't know what they're doing, they this and that. And you know, it's kind of, it was very interesting for me how everybody was praising all the truck drivers when the pandemic happened. And I posted, you know, through our company website on Facebook. By the way, you can follow us there too, with the updates and everything.
Mhm.
It's Transline Sync, and you know, I posted down there, and I asked the question. I was like, how long will everybody, you know, thank, you know, all the drivers and
Yeah.
understand that this is vital
Yeah.
to everyone. You know, that's why we you know, your food, your everything that you have on your
Yeah.
table, that you know, put in your closet, everything goes on the truck. Absolutely everything. And you know, if we don't have people, you know, in this industry that will be you know, hauling these goods, it's going to be extremely painful for everybody.
Yeah, no, you're doing a great thing by putting those YouTube videos out and helping your truckers. I know behind the scenes you're doing a lot of work to help your truckers stay in the business and you know, just kind of promote that industry. So I know you're doing a lot of great work behind the scenes. So thank you. Thank you for keeping the trucks moving. Thank you for joining us here today and helping us understand what's going on in the trucking industry. And maybe what we can do is have you back on in a few weeks and see what the updates are, and maybe talk a little bit more about your business, how you got into business, what sort of issues you ran into, and I know you have an interesting story there to tell. So love to have you back on for that if we can. That'd be great. Thank you so much, Drew, for your time today. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, Tony.